Hey Jason, I thought this would be an efficient way to give you some feedback on your combined Wednesday training group. Also, an opportunity for you to check out some of the footage you don't get to see because you're training them. Enjoy. Okay, and what I want to point out here is you probably want to have the guys bring their heads and their shoulders off the floor. Two things will happen. Number one, they're going to engage the abdominals more. Number two, they're going to be able to reach their hands down further towards their ankles and their feet, which is going to give them greater leverage to push down, like Gabe does here. You see a lot of the other guys, their hands are around their knees. They got to reach further, and they can do that by flexing their spine up. Okay, and here, we're going to look at what happens when they go down and check out their hips, where the arrows are here, right? You're seeing a huge amount of rotation. That means that you got to force them to press their hips down, right? So that their hips are level with the ground. Now, this is something that's a recurring theme. Watch out just for the total volume of hip flexion stuff. This is hip flexor action, right? The dynamic movement are coming from the knees and the hips, and that's pretty much it. The abdominals are loaded, that's true, but they're not that dynamic, they're more isometric. So what happens is the weak transducer, is what it's called, is going to be the hip flexor, all right? And not that any one of these exercises is bad, just careful about how many are done during a session along with their trainer. And here we're going to check out the scale position again from the other side. So again, you have an opportunity here. I just really want you to look at all the jiggly bodies here, right? This way you get a chance to see them while you're not in the middle of trying to train them. But also it's another opportunity then to check out all that rotation, you see? And that's a limitation in the hamstrings, right? The hamstrings, particularly the lateral hamstrings, are not flexible enough, so they turn out through the hip. And you want to make sure that they level those hips out. Now here again, then we go again, we've got more hip flexion, right? While we're stabilizing the position through the abdominals, that's what keeps them up, but the hip flexors are still working again. Okay, and here I thought you just want to check out their turns here, their jump turns, and just see how in control or out of control some of them are. Jack here is a mess as he keeps going on and on. But the one thing I would cue them to do is to really do something specific with their arms. Either they go straight up overhead and they're really tight, like they're trying to pull their arms to their ears, or they cross their arms over their chest really, really tight. Also, they squeeze their legs together really, really tight. And a third component is to drive their legs into the ground and then lift their heads straight up. Because you see the ones that are troubling when they go on angles, it's because they're just, their arms and legs are all over and they're not pushing into the ground very hard. Way to go, Jack. And I just sped you up here for my own amusement. It just looked funny. Okay, I'm done. Okay, and here we've got the hopping drill, is what's coming up here. A couple notes here. I would have them anchor their hands to their hips or interlace their fingers behind their head. That's in increasing order of difficulty. Hands on the hips will be a little bit easier, hands on top of the head a little bit harder. Either way, it forces them to move from their trunk and their hips and to control what they do, rather than the arms trying to compensate for instability. Also, check out the jiggly bodies here. A lot of them to where they don't, some of them don't stabilize before they move to the next position. And we're not going to get nearly as much positive development, stability transferring to power if every movement is just moving from unbalanced position to an unbalanced position, or from a destabilized position to a destabilized position. What I mean is, have them like freeze just momentarily before they move to the next position. So it's hop, freeze, hop, freeze, hop, freeze, so that they are stabilized before they hop again.